Greetings, fellow men of culture. As always, I'm broadcasting live from the peak of Thundercock Mountain. The spread of Western leftist values across media of all different kinds has become as wide as my voluptuous butt crack. The brain-dead Puritan requirements that these people demand be in every piece of media from all over the world so that they won't buy what they're complaining about anyway is ridiculous. We've been dealing with this here in the West for over a decade now. Every show, movie, and video game must contain a certain number of minority characters, regardless of whether it makes sense or not. That's why we get so many nonsensical race swaps, and voice actors aren't allowed to voice fictional characters that don't match their race in real life. Whenever I get approached to do some voice acting, I always turn it down if the character isn't black. Nobody's ever asked me to voice anything. These insufferable, single, white feminist Karens and their army of simps that don't realize these women will ruin their lives if they ever let them smash, have somehow gained control of the casting and writing direction of nearly all Western-made media. No matter the subject matter, how established the characters in the universe are, or how beloved the franchise, they will always be there to take a baseball bat to everything you love. Then they shove that baseball bat up their putrid, dusty butthole, pull it out and lick it like an ice cream cone. Professor Snape is black for no reason. Transformers are actually trans now.
Nightshade's pronouns are they, them.
He or she just doesn't fit who I am.
My apologies. Please switch their piece.
I really just want to die.
Because f*** my ass, I guess. Really quick, I want to thank this video's sponsor, my channel members. Tall and erect residents of Thundercock Mountain, true men of culture. About a month ago now, Twitter made a change to how it shares tweets from other parts of the world. There's been a huge increase of tweets from Japan showing up on the feeds of users in North America. And thanks to the convenient advancements in translation technology, the West is being introduced to an all-new level of racism. The Translate Post button has been unearthing glorious gems for weeks now. As funny as that is, that's not the point of the video. Thanks to the same Twitter changes that introduced us to the yellow fever of racism, we're getting some insight into just how angry the Japanese are at the same people who are ruining Western media. Maybe we're not so different after all. They're just as tired of the Twitter police pretending to be offended at everything as we are. I've gained more followers from overseas, so here's a question for people abroad once again. Are left-wing activists also Are left-wing activists also disliked overseas? Yes, we hate them for ruining our society and entertainment media, and we hate them even more for trying to ruin your entertainment media by convincing Japanese creators that they need to censor themselves in order to cater to a non-existent modern global audience. Now that communication between people all over the world is more open, and Twitter in particular is pushing this more than before, normal people in Japan are getting exposed to what we've been dealing with in the West for years now. And just like us, they hate it. Slander from overseas are leftists. Leftists hate Japan because the Japanese are opposition at wokeism and progressive agenda. Rightist loves Japan. Far right wants Japanese culture to be Japanese. True anime fans hate westernization of Japanese culture. They are gatekeepers. The only thing I disagree with here is him characterizing true anime and manga fans wanting Japan to stay Japan as far right. I wouldn't say that's a far right standpoint. That's a normal, reasonable standpoint that should be removed from any political leaning. These nasty Twitter activists are airing out their stinky pussies, and the wind is blowing the smell all the way to Japan. The difference between them and a lot of people over here is they don't give a shit what people say to them. They have a superpower that millions of people in North America have lost over time, and that power is not caring what people say or think about your opinions. Japanese Twitter users have no problem just saying that they don't want the rot that's infested Western media encroaching upon the stuff they create and love. These weirdos that claim to be fans of certain works lose their minds if something in whatever manga they're reading or anime they're watching clashes with their worldview or sexual preferences. One of the biggest recent examples of this is with a manga called Go For It Nakamura. It's about a little gay boy trying to find gay love.
A lot of people on YouTube, you're calling me a homo.
While navigating all the typical manga and anime love story tropes. Regardless of whether or not you support the subject material, it's the author's original work. Wherever they decide to take their thing creatively is up to them. Considering the manga is about a closeted homosexual child, you would think the progressives on Twitter would love this story. It has the gay representation they're always screaming about, and it's a love story featuring minors. Every Twitter user with their pronouns and Palestinian flag in their bio should be all over this manga, except they somehow found something to freak out about. One of the main characters, Hirose, develops a crush on his homeroom teacher. It's an awkward subject to broach for sure, maybe even a little creepy. The fan base was rightfully pretty wary of where the author might take this. The teacher is also portrayed as pretty chummy with the student who has a crush on him, but the author herself stated that the teacher doesn't reciprocate these feelings at all. In the manga itself, the teacher openly states he's into women, so if he's going to be a pedo, it would be with a female student. It's not a weird idolization of Nambla, there's no predatory storyline here or anything. Regardless, the so-called fans freaked out. They demanded that the teacher character be trapped in the prison realm. The entire direction of the manga and the anime adaptation must be changed to suit their preferences. The vitriol was so constant that the author deleted her Twitter and has put the series on hiatus. So great job, the author is terrified of you now. She put out a tweet just before deleting that reads, "I just get complaints about why the hell I draw something like this, and I don't have the ability to create something that makes everyone as happy as they're expected. So there's no point in being manga anymore, is there? I thought I should at least say goodbye at the end, but they're telling me to get out of here as soon as possible, so I'm leaving before noon." This is all done to the creator of a fictional work that they claim to be fans of. Fictional work. It's not real. These deranged people are incapable of separating reality from whatever fiction they've made their entire identity at the moment. So much so that they will do whatever it takes to ruin the life of the author should they take a single step in the wrong direction. If the author made the fatal mistake of capitulating to the loud minority on Twitter and let these idiotic internet strangers gain some degree of creative control over their own work, the harassment wouldn't end. It's not about fixing problematic elements in media. It's about control. Every time they harass someone so bad they have to retreat from the internet itself, they celebrate that as a victory. They could care less about the manga at that point. They want the author to prostrate themselves at their feet and grovel for forgiveness. That forgiveness won't be granted, because it's not about forgiveness. They love pressuring others to do what they want. If they accept the apology, not that there needs to be one in the first place, the torment ends. The torment is the entire goal in the first place. The next great example of Westerners that can't keep their ideals out of another country's art is one that is near and dear to my heart. And judging by the number of people in my comment section that recognize the sound and animation of my intro, I think a lot of you would agree. There's been some recent news regarding incredibly well-cultured adult manga publisher Faku, the largest English language publisher of this kind of content in the world. For 20 years now, they've been providing those of us that don't speak or read Japanese a way to enjoy this fine art while busting a fat nut so hard that the post-nut clarity is soul-crushing. They've recently discussed how they have run into the same issue that other publishers that offer similar content have for the past few years. Similar to Melon Books, which I covered in a really early video on this channel, payment processors are refusing to accept payments to Faku since they don't agree with the content on the website. I may be missing some context here, but since when was it Visa and MasterCard's business to police what companies sell? Their job is to facilitate digital fund transfers between the customer, the merchant, and whatever bank or financial institution the customer uses. That's it. It's not their job to tell people what they can and cannot spend their own money on. If they want to buy a life-size real doll of B. Arthur or a giant box of big booty Latina smut, they don't need to concern themselves with that. Regardless, Visa, MasterCard, and Stripe refused to process payments made to Faku, leaving them scrambling to find alternative ways to keep the company alive. I know the subject matter is funny, but besides all the jokes, payment processors have zero business telling companies what they can sell based on their own values. Faku confirmed its belief in freedom of speech, stating it believes all anime, manga, and hentai are a protected form of speech, regardless of whether they are available on Faku or any other platform. Faku stated it will never impose censorship on any creator we work with. Censorship is exactly what they want. They want to control the specific things companies are allowed to sell, and will refuse the writing or illustrations that they don't like. Another great example of overzealous Westerners attempting to force their worldview on other countries' output. A lot of Japanese Twitter users seem genuinely surprised to see the admiration they get from North America. Media from Japan, such as anime and manga, have gone incredibly mainstream here in the West over the last few years. Manga holds 43% of the graphic novel market share compared to the 15% of traditional superhero comics. We seem to be developing a camaraderie due to dealing with a lot of the same societal issues. At the same time, they're watching the same bad actors that have ruined our media and discussion around it turn their attention to the stuff they make since it's become so popular. The biggest difference here is Japanese people don't have the same kryptonite as Westerners. They blatantly say what they feel without fear of being cancelled or labeled as any number of ists or phobes. I know my regular viewers are the same way, but the reality is most Westerners aren't like us. The second someone calls them racist or a bigot, even if they know it's not true, they completely fold and no longer stand up for themselves. Twitter giving us a view into how other parts of the world are dealing with the same overzealous, busybody Karens actively trying to police their creativity gives me some hope that there will always be people out there just like us that are willing to stand up for the media they love and resist the ridiculous puritanical ideals of so-called Western values. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.